Tuesday afternoon, and for all of you who have tuned in today because you're indoors, regardless of where you're located, I can speak for myself and my guest today, my special guest today. We've got a nice summer here. We've got a great, wonderful summer here in the greater Chicago metro area. The sun is out. For those of you who are not indoors, my hope for you is that maybe you're outdoors, you're sitting by a pool, having a couple of, fancy drinks, um, reading a book, jamming to your music on your phone. So, however you're joining us today, welcome. You are here in today's live stream episode of Solar Powered Living, where in our short conversation, we will share with you, drop some content about real estate, solar panels, what, how, and if you're dealing with that to make your life a whole lot simpler, whole lot easier, and a whole lot more cost efficient. That's really usually the reason why people are adopting and committing to solar energy. So with all of that said, let me welcome my guest in today's live stream. She is a recurring guest. It's been some time that I have been honored with her virtual presence in one of my live streams, but she's a wonderful guest because one, she knows what she's talking about. That's always good and important. And second, she runs a very unique business that for those of you, all of you who are real estate brokers, if you don't have her team of resources to help you earn more gross commission income, GCI, do more real estate sales, then she is absolutely someone you need to engage and get in touch with. So with all of that said, let me welcome my guest, Kerri Jonikas, into today's conversation. Here we go. Hello, Kerri.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm
You're
happy
welcome.
to be back.
You're welcome. Neither you or I are outdoors, poolside, knocking back a few of these, reading a book, or jamming to music. We're indoors running our business, right?
That's right.
So with all of that said, Kerri, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for sharing your time with me, your audience, and my audience, our audience together in this episode of Solar Powered Living. So I want to just lead you right into today's conversation with this backdrop. On a beautiful sunny day like this that you and I are having, and let's assume 80% of our listeners, watchers, social friends, they're also enjoying similar weather. It's a great day to have solar panels, to live off of renewable energy for the reasons of hey, pocketing more money in your wallet, right?
Yes.
Now, having said that, you and I both know this. When there are or will be solar panels on real estate structures, small home to the big McMansion homes, am I correct? It kind of complicates the process a little bit.
Definitely complicates the process. And if you are not prepared for what's ahead, it will further complicate the process. I think in my experience, a lot of clients just think, oh, well, my attorney will handle that. And that's just not the case.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that you have to prepare for, when you're listing your home. You want to be able to prepare, and the agent to help to guide their client to prepare for that when they're going to sell their home.
So what's the first step in being prepared?
So the thing that a lot of people don't understand is that there can be both a company that is handling the financing on the solar, but then also a company that services the actual solar.
Yeah.
And sometimes I've come across some companies that there's not a transferable warranty on that. So that's also a misconception, is that that they're marketing that there's some sort of warranty, and that's not always the case. So making sure that you have the paperwork and all of the warranty information from the company that is actually servicing that loan, and actually going through that paperwork and confirming, or calling that company and confirming if there's any questions. Being proactive about it is going to help you to have a much smoother transaction. And then also, if there's a difference between having it leased and then owning it as well, is there a payoff that needs to be ordered on that? What is that payoff? Who in the company do you have to order that payoff from? Because that can cause some delays on trying to figure out who the right person is. If you have all of this information up front, that's really going to help streamline the process when you actually go under contract, and you're going to get through a lot faster. I also have noticed that there are some companies out there that their response times are very long. And so, they're obviously very busy, but like we all are, but their response time, I mean, I'm talking like 3 to 4 weeks. Sometimes it's taken me to get a response
Oh
from
no.
some of these companies. So it's really important that you are getting as much information up front as you can, because once you get under contract, if you're trying to get answers on those things, sometimes there can be a really big delay, which then of course can delay closing.
Yeah.
Which obviously we don't want to do. So
No.
making sure that you have that warranty paperwork, very important. Reviewing that warranty paperwork, finding out, can that be transferred to another party? And if so, what is the amount? So what would that, like, if there is still a balance on that loan, what does that look like, as far as like them assuming that loan on that buyout? Because there might be fees associated with that. So you want to find out what that is. And then if they are taking over a lease, sometimes there's an additional payment that some of the companies are requiring on top of that lease payment. So there might be a fee that they are requiring you to pay in order to take over that lease. So knowing that up front too, and then who is paying for that? Is it the buyer? Is it the seller?
Yeah.
Knowing all of that information up front would be really helpful as you're moving along.
Yeah. And for those of you who are real estate brokers, and for those of you, some of you who are my peers as mortgage professionals, well, let me also lean in to say this. This is absolutely critical, because all of these details you need to include and factor in to your qualification, pre-approval, or flat out your hopefully approval to include those figures into the debt to income PITIA dollar amount, right? Kerri, I mean, there's nothing worse than getting surprised, at halftime in the real estate journey with someone forgetting to kind of look that up. That's kind of shameful.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, for those of you who don't know Kerri, why can she speak to this? Well, let me set the table for Kerri to talk a little bit more about her why. She owns and operates a transaction coordinating business called Amplify Transactions. How appropriate. You amp up how fast things go, how much more real estate brokers can do. So can you talk a little bit about your business, Amplify Transactions, who benefits from your service, and tying it back to what we're talking about, a complicated transaction, why transaction coordinators really benefit brokers.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do help real estate agents in multiple different states. We help them with the paperwork side of things and ensuring that we have a smooth transaction. So not only really the paperwork, of course, we do help with that paperwork side of things, but again, going through the transaction and making sure that things are moving along smoothly. We're following up with our lenders weekly to see where we're at in the transaction. When there is solar that is in the transaction, we do follow up on that. So it's usually me who's contacting the solar company and trying to get them connected with the buyer and the paperwork started with the buyer, because they have to fill out the application and go through that whole process, just like you were saying, as far as that approval goes. And so that's something typically that we are working on in the transaction, and following that all the way through to closing to make sure that that transfer is going to happen once closing occurs. We aren't doing any licensed activity whatsoever, so we're just kind of trying to keep that communication with all parties connected and make sure everyone knows what's happening and making sure that things are moving along smoothly in the transaction. We love supporting agents in all aspects of their business, whether you only do one file a year or you do 150 to 300 files a year. Wherever you're at in your business, we can support you. And it's what we love to do. We love being behind the scenes and helping to make sure that the transactions are moving along smoothly. And, as challenging as some of the transactions are, it brings some variety in our day. And we actually enjoy going through those processes to help everyone get to the closing table in a smooth manner instead of everyone being so frazzled. Obviously, we do the best that we can. Sometimes there's things that come up that are just out of our control. We do love working with agents on the listing side when there is a solar, because we can help to guide them and educate them on the things that we have seen that have happened under contract, so they can eliminate any of those issues that come up. So that is something that we can also help with as well, is on the listing side before you even go to market and helping you to prepare for your listings.
Yeah, spot on. Nothing helps all parties in a real estate journey, real estate transaction, get to that outcome with less stress, faster, more cost efficient than preparation. So with all of that said, brokers, I know some of you love just meeting, greeting, kissing babies, winning the relationship with a client, and then you want to rinse, repeat, recycle that process. You hate the contract to closing part. And that's when and where Kerri and her team of TCs, transaction coordinators, can certainly make you look like a hero to all of your clients. Now, with all of that said, Kerri is not, she's going to laugh at my next descriptor, she's not an empty suit. Why can I say this? It's because not only does she know how to run, operate a transaction coordinating business, but, well, guess what? She lives and dies by moving real estate transactions forward. So let's bring up something that, for example, a property like this, Kerri, a property like this, when and if there may be the purchase, installation, transfer of solar panels, right? A nice $500,000 property, single family home in greater Chicago land, suburbs. This is a great example of where you add value, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, this particular property, it's shot, the pictures, are shot on a great sunny day. It's out in the suburbs. So yes, for you, buyer, potentially of a property like this, if you're looking to adopt solar, then that's another reason to take Kerri's advice to heart today to make sure that your process, your outcome is as smooth as possible. Now, having said that, what if you do want to adopt solar on a property just like that one, and you want to say, hey, how can I roll in my dollar investment, the cost of solar, as well as acquiring the subject property? Well, let me share this with you. From my company, we've got a unique solution. It's called Solar Boost down payment assistance. Let me bring that up a little visual to add to our conversation. This is our down payment assistance solution for that property that Kerri is representing some sellers to sell, you can actually get DPA, down payment assistance, to pay for your new solar panels and acquire that detached single family home all in one go. But don't get me wrong, you still need, some great team members, brokers, transaction coordinators to assist you to get to the outcome that you want. Agree, Kerri?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, how can you reach out to Kerri if you are a broker looking to grow your business, expand your business, do more with less time with the right TCs? Just follow this URL that you see here, and Kerri will gladly engage you in a conversation as we wrap up today's episode, today's live stream of Solar Powered Living. How can you start a conversation with me if you have questions about our Solar Boost DPA? Real simple. All you need to do is scan the QR code that you see here. I will gladly invite you to have a short consultation with myself. And along the way, if Kerri needs to be a part of that journey as well, we'll fold her and her team of resources to help you get you to the outcome that you want. So, Music Posse, play us out. Kerri, thank you for joining me on today's sunny summer day. Here we go, Music Posse.